to be able to just make a choice on your own and just be able to speak for yourself.
This one's wife. Money. How long will they stay afloat? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. As a somatic narcissist, money is hugely important to this one's wife. Something I've made abundantly clear to you in the past. Money is a residual benefit, and it enables her to use that to control people, for instance by purchasing PR puff pieces. It enables her to triangulate people by paying for security to make her look important. It enables her to triangulate people with expensive clothing and jewellery. It allows her to go to places, which there she can then control more people, draw fuel from them. Thus, money is hugely important to her. As a somatic narcissist, the ability to access this money means that she has a lifestyle that she has grown accustomed to, and one which she desperately wishes to maintain. Furthermore, irrespective of the fact that she's a talentless individual that doesn't merit the huge sums of money that have come her way, her narcissism tells her that she's very much worth it, and that she should receive these payments, and that she should be given this money simply because she's her, because she's so amazing and wonderful. Nevertheless, there is repeated speculation about the actual amount of money that this one's wife and Harry have received from the deals that they originally cut some years ago, and where that's going to leave them vis-à-vis their quite extravagant expenditure. Daniela Elsa has taken up the mantle of consideration in that regard. She writes in news.com.au, "Most people think that Henry VIII invented the Anglican Church because he wanted a divorce to marry haughty Anne Boleyn. But it was also about money. He promptly dissolved the 625 Catholic monasteries and nunneries and helped himself to all their land and lucre, because things were a bit tight that month. Gold doublets don't come cheap." The moral of the story, the British royal family has been fretting about money forever and a day. King Charles's divorce from Diana, Princess of Wales, left him broke, and he had to borrow money from the late Queen. Prince Harry and this one's wife might no longer be required to pretend to enjoy the Windsor Horse Show, but they are not immune to original Henry's bugaboo, finding enough dough to keep them in the lifestyle to which they have eagerly become accustomed. And as you know, this money is important for this one's wife vis-à-vis the prime aims. There's been a new report revealing the shockingly tiddly amount of money that the Sussexes have actually been paid by Netflix, and it's about 129 million Australian dollars less than was previously reported. Central to the Sussex narrative since 2020 has been one number, $100, or rather 100 million US, which works out at 152 million in Australian money. This is how much their megawatt, as the slightly breathless New York Times put it back then, deal with Netflix was worth. The streaming giant had beaten out the Apples and Disneys to secure the talents of the recently emancipated couple, who were primed and ready to conquer La La Land. One doco showed Harry squinting into the African sun as he rescued an elephant calf at a time. Now, back then, Netflix would have been content to have the deal framed as seemingly being $100 million as a bit of a flex, to say to Apple and Disney, "Ha, look at us. We're able to secure these two, big deal. Kiss my ass." However, Elsa writes, those best laid plans have come a bit of a cropper. The Daily Mail's Alison Boshoff, see parts passim, has reported that in reality the Sussexes have only banked 22.9 million Australian dollars from the streamer for their 6-hour docuseries, Harry and This One's Wife, an endurance exercise in how much self-pity and how many linen sofas one can stomach in a sitting. It was never the huge payday that the press reported. A well-placed source with knowledge of the deal told Boshoff the $100 million number was always a newspaper figure. That $22.9 million is a far cry from all the supposed rivers of gold the Duke and Duchess were supposed to be splashing about in post-Megxit, as they embodied the American success story. Just a local lass, her hardy immigrant husband and their dream, and hey presto, a 47,000 Flushing toileted mansion. Let us continue our actuarial amble through Harry and this one's wife's finances. The other big-ticket money spinner in Sussex land was Harry's 2023 memoir, Spare. He was paid a reported $20 million advance for the tome, no small feat for a man who left school with a B in art and a D in geography. Still, that's a serious wad of cash, and the book is still selling. But how likely is he to get another advance of this magnitude again? Call this a one-and-done situation. Let us not forget here either this one's wife's publishing effort, with the Duchess reportedly having been paid about $960,000 for her 167-word 2021 children's book, The Bench. And what of Spotify? The Duke and Duchess might have been junked by the audio giant, but still, some money must have changed hands. Boshoff writes that the duo will have most likely only netted them a fraction of the original $20 million deal. The other side of the coin, pause for groans, here is the Duke and Duchess of Sussex expenses. No 2-minute noodles and unique glow jumpers here, no siree. Last week they were in Canada, and this one's wife wore, among other obsessively reported items, a $5,700 puffer jacket and a $480 Burberry beanie. The couple flew to Whistler from Santa Barbara via private jet, check-in and all that gate waiting clearly for lesser sorts who don't have their own ciphers. It all looks very lifestyles of the rich and gauche. Little thing, according to page 6, the couple were guests on the private flight. Translation, it was a freebie, which would seem to be their preferred mode of travel. They certainly don't like to spend their own money, a source who has worked with the couple told page 6. Another well-placed source has said it's always other people's money. Naturally, as I've explained, a sense of entitlement of the narcissist. Leaving aside the Gulfstream budget, there are the Sussexes' more prosaic costs, which the Mail has previously been pegging at $6.7 million a year, including $733,000 for their mortgage and $5 million for their tranche of no-neck private bodyguards. So many numbers, so much early morning use of the calculator app. If we assume that between Netflix, Spare, The Bench and Spotify, guessing that they picked up a quarter of what the audio company had promised them, that gives them a grand total of $61.9 million in earnings since arriving in the US in 2020. Doing some calculations and using the Mail's estimates of their expenses, their post-Megxit earnings will keep them afloat for only 9 and a bit years. Harry was reportedly left about $13.5 million by his late mother Diana, Princess of Wales, and it's unknown if the late Queen might have seen her way to bequeathing the Sussexes a little something. So maybe there's an extra 2 or 3 years of Monty Shit Show costs here too. Still, Harry and this one's wife are young, healthy, and most likely sucking back green juices daily. They have decades and decades ahead of them. There is something of a sword of Damocles hanging over the Sussexes. They have made monetary hay while the public interest in their story shines. But how long will it last? In January, the couple popped up in Jamaica on the red carpet for the premiere of the Bob Marley biopic One Love, having been flown in by private jet, Natch, and put up by Paramount, according to The Sun. At the time, knickers back in London were being twisted about what this might presage. The Sun reported that there is fear behind palace walls that the couple could become royals for hire as they struggle to fund their expensive lifestyle amid floundering media deals. However, maybe they have been savvier and cluier with their cash. Last year, when Harry and this one's wife popped over to Las Vegas to catch the final Katy Perry show, their private jet travel comped, the Duke was seen with billionaire Wall Street bigwig Ken Griffin. There have been reports that Griffin has been helping the Sussexes invest their dosh, So maybe they will be able to make that $61.9 million go much further. Thus, it's estimated that there's probably about 9 or 10 years left of the money. I would actually suggest it's less than that as a consequence of the profligate spending of this one's wife. With no sense of accountability and her sense of entitlement, remember, she needs to keep a certain control, and there continues to grow and grow and grow criticism of her. More and more newspapers and magazines and broadcasters put out critical content about her, alongside that which is manifesting on social media. In order to try and combat that, she needs to pay more people to put forward this one's wife's pieces. All of that costs money. She will continue to want to spend on clothing and jewellery because, one, those are commensurate with the delusion of her being a fashion icon. 2, her sense of entitlement tells her that she should have such items. And 3, she doesn't have that much to occupy her, and therefore, because of only working 1 hour a week at Archwell, she has plenty of time to sit around ordering and purchasing clothing and jewellery. Having got herself into a position where she initially found herself amongst the rarefied atmosphere of wealthy people, although comparatively they're way, way down the pecking order and at much lower end compared to many of the people that they live near, she wants to stay there. And that means she's going to continue to burn through the cash. One of the problems that she has is that she wants the company of much wealthier people, although she, being well off, isn't as wealthy as them. When you start to move in those circles, for some individuals, a narcissist such as this one's wife, she believes that it's very much her gang. And in order to belong, there's a certain level of expenditure that comes with it. Now that's okay if you're worth several hundred million, or for instance, you're a billionaire. But this one's wife is neither of those things. But she believes that she should move in the circles of people that wealthy. And therefore, this results in her spending outside of her actual level of wealth. Her narcissism sees no problem with that because her narcissism is all about short-termism. Spend today to get the control, not thinking about what might happen in the future. And of course, when those bills start to land and the money starts to run out, rather than her knuckle down and actually produce something, why do that? That's hard work. Instead, she'll just go and find somebody else that she will seek to fund her lifestyle, if, of course, she's able to do so. And that's why I have maintained that the most likely factor that's going to cause Harry's disengagement is the absence of future funds as the current ones start to run out. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.